Hey guys, welcome back to Pure Heart. Chris here, as usual, back again for another album review. And guys, before we get started, make sure you guys hit that like button onto this video and also comment down below what you guys thought about this album. And also, if you're new here or a returning visitor and you haven't yet subscribed, then maybe hit that subscribe button. It really helps out this channel. But let's get into it. So Let the Ground Rest by Renzema is his second sophomoric album. However, it's his first since signing with Centricity Music. And my experience for Renzema was, I think I was listening to a playlist onto Spotify, and or a daily mix or whatever. And sometimes, with Spotify, as soon as you finish with a playlist, usually most of the time, it goes into this shuffle mode and basically, hey, here's some radio based onto this. And one of the songs I ever heard was I Don't Want to Go by Renzema, and I loved his songs ever since. His first album, I'll Be the Branches, is still really good to listen to today. You got amazing songs like I Don't Want to Go, Fountain, and also the really great, his quote-unquote best that everyone knows him by is How to Be Yours, which is a really great song, not gonna lie. And so whenever I heard that he was having a second album, I was super excited. It was probably my most anticipated album for this year, besides of a lot of the others, but this one would have to be pretty high. It's either at number 1, number 2, or number 3. He also fits into my type of favorite genre, which is indie folk mixed with worship music. And really the heartbeat of this album, he says in an interview that the idea that growth comes from periods of rest and bareness, and it's the process of moving winter to spring. And you get that with songs like Springtime, and even the last song, the title track of the album, which is called Let the Ground Rest. And really, it's this album is all really about the seasons that we deal with in our life, whether it be, we're young and, we're growing up, and we're really this child of God, or we're seasoned Christian in a different aspect of our life, or we're, struggling with something, or, we're very depressed about something. We all deal with different types of seasons into our life. I know, as a world global plays, we're dealing with a really huge season and part of our life. I know 2020 has been a really interesting season for a lot of us, and for those that are struggling with around this time, then my hearts do go out to you. I know that you are in my prayer. Whether you lost your job, whether you're working so many hours and keeping up the good fight, or whatever it may be, you guys are in my prayers. I hope you guys know that. And so to say that this album isn't timely is really an understatement of it. Anyway, let's get into this album and my thoughts about everything. And my thoughts is really, really great. Like, this album is probably close to being perfect, if not a perfect album. There's just so many great songs that's on here. The first song on here, which is Springtime, whenever I heard that single off of that, this is such a really great song, just about dealing with spring and growing and process. And then you go into something that he's not usually does a lot, which is really this upbeat type of folk pop per se, and he really does it very well with the song Maybe This Is the End, which is a really great song about one door closing and another one opening, and really the uncertainness sometimes of life. And then he goes into the song Not Finished Yet, which I usually have a very huge problem with this, and that's just a one line for a chorus. But yet, he's able to make that one line of that chorus be so impactful, yet not so overly done, even though he probably says it maybe like 15 times, and it's still really great. And then he goes into one of my personal favorite off this record that, can be either turned into a worship live song that, implemented into churches, which should be implemented because of just how amazing that song is. And that is the song God is Love, which is probably now my favorite Chris Renesmee song out there, just of how beautifully it's done. First 2 times I've listened to it, I've cried, especially whenever you look at the lyrics and just the amazing thing that is our God and what he has done, and of how he's just, but he's also so kind to us. And then he goes into song 17, which is the other single released off of this, and it's a fine song, but it's really hard to combat from that amazing song, which is God is Love. And then 17 is a really nice, has a really nice message, kind of really interesting musical choice. Just again, it's coming off of that last song, so it's really hard to compete with that, but it does a really good job for it. And then the song Better, which is all about the simple theme of just us getting better as Christians, or just as people, something that we all really deal with, that is sometimes hard for us to just want to get better, even though that things may be rough for us, and we just want to be better as human beings. It's a really great song. Is the 3rd single off of this before the album was released, and it's still an amazing song. And one of the problems I actually had listening to this album was really the order of it. And because I figured, whenever you listen to the song God is Love, that's like the perfect way to end an album, or, to be a little bit more closer towards the bottom. The more that I think about it, the more I totally understand. And that is really apparent with the last song, Let the Ground Rest, which is all about resting into God. Like all these songs deal with, the way that we're going to get better is resting into God. The way that we're able to grow is to rest into God. The way that we're able to see that God is love is to resting into God into these hard times. Amazing song. Definitely one of the best songs off of here lyrically, especially that last part of reaping the harvest. It leaves you breathless and just at the end wanting more, which is one of the bad things. At the end of the album, I wanted more from this. It's only 10 songs. All these songs just mean so much to what they're dealing with. You're gonna find your favorite song off of here and just love it. And you may even love the entire album. It deals with, different seasons that we are in our life. And so that's why overall, I'm going to have to give this album a 5 out of 5. Praise hands. This album could get a hipster Jesus with a cuff in his hands, but this album is really kind of more of a praising God and worship album. I really do think you can implement some of these songs into worship music, especially Springtime, and even the amazing song which is God is Love. Maybe a few others off of here, but it's a really great album that is perfect for this time, is perfect for seasons of life that we deal with as people, and an album that's basically almost perfect. The only issues I had with it was the kind of the flow, but then you kind of understand that with the last song, Let the Ground Rest, and also the fact of me wanting more as soon as this album was finished. But with that, if you guys would, leave a like onto this video, comment down below what you guys thought about this album, and also what your favorite song off this album was, and also put down in those comments which you guys would want me to review that I missed in the past, that is coming up, or whatever it may be. You guys put it down into those comments and I will get to it. And also, if you're new here or a returning visitor, and you like what we do here at Pure Heart, then maybe hit that subscribe button. It really helps out this channel. But you are loved. Boom. Bye.